Elon Musk is the apex white predator. He is not a genius, not a visionary, and not self-made. He is the ultimate white mediocrity worshipped by white men who need a messiah to convince themselves that white male dominance is not crumbling. Newsflash: it is. In reality, Musk is a government-funded welfare queen, a serial scam artist, and an overhyped, incompetent tech bro who continues to fail upwards because white billionaires, investors, and media refuse to let him die. If Musk were any other race, he would have been laughed out of Silicon Valley years ago. Instead, he's held up as the greatest mind of our time. Not because anything he's actually achieved, but because white people are desperate to believe the future still belongs to them. Musk did not create Tesla. Tesla was founded in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. Musk swooped in with the money, forced himself into leadership, and then erased the real founders from history. Tesla's actual engineers create its technology. Musk just takes credit for it. Musk did not create SpaceX's rocket tech. Everything SpaceX does is built on decades-old NASA and Soviet research. The actual SpaceX engineers do all of the work. Musk just plays visionary for the cameras. SpaceX survives off billions in US government contracts. Musk isn't a self-made space pioneer. He's a government-subsidized middleman. Musk's only real invention? Hype and bullshit. Every single idea he pushes is either a recycled, stolen idea from someone else, a fake, unworkable scam designed to hype up stock prices, or a half-finished, legally questionable death trap that never actually works. Hyperloop? A nonsense distraction meant to kill high-speed rail. Neuralink? A dystopian tech bro fantasy that killed monkeys in horrifying ways. Tesla Autopilot? A glitchy, deadly mess that's already killed people. Musk's entire reputation is built on one thing: white people's belief that a white, rich man must be a genius. Musk loves to scream about socialism and big government, but the truth is, he would be nothing without government funding. Tesla only survived because the government gave it a $465 million loan. SpaceX exists because of billions in Pentagon and NASA contracts. Musk's businesses get massive tax breaks, subsidies, and grants, meaning the government funds his so-called success. Musk hates government help, unless it's going directly into his pocket. He whines about welfare, but sucks up taxpayer dollars like a vampire. He attacks union workers while using government funding to avoid paying fair wages. He pretends to be an independent thinker, but relies entirely on state contracts to stay relevant. This is white capitalist hypocrisy at its peak. Steal everything from the public and then pretend like you built it yourself. Tesla is a mess. Cars catch fire, doors break off, software malfunctions constantly. Tesla is years behind on production targets, but Elon keeps lying about new breakthroughs. Autopilot crashes keep killing people, but Musk still sells it as nearly perfect. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it? Are you kidding me? Musk paid $44 billion for a company worth half that. He fired the best engineers and replaced them with his yes men. He destroyed ad revenue, brought back Nazis, and turned Twitter into an unusable hellscape. The Boring Company? A total joke. His tunnel revolution is literally just a smaller tunnel with traffic jams. The Las Vegas tunnel is slower than walking. Every city that bought into his scam has nothing to show for it. SpaceX? Running on fraud. Most of its innovations are just flashy PR stunts. Delayed projects, failed test launches, and government money keeping it alive. Musk promises Mars colonization, but can't even land a contract to send people to the moon. If Musk were anyone else, he would be considered a disaster CEO whose companies are collapsing under his stupidity. But because he's a rich white man with a god complex, the media still props him up as a genius. Musk is not self-made. He's not smart. He's just a spoiled white billionaire who was handed his success. He was born into apartheid wealth. His family was rich off South African emerald mining, meaning he never had to struggle. His father literally owned an emerald mine, so Elon was never self-made. Every time he fails, white media protects him. When Tesla is in crisis, they call it growing pains. When Twitter crashes, they say he's revolutionizing social media. When his companies bleed money, they say he's playing the long game. Musk is a perfect example of white privilege shielding an incompetent fraud. White tech bros worship him because he is their last hope. They need to believe a white man is still the future. They need him to be a genius, because if he's not, then white men aren't the most powerful people in tech anymore. Musk's cult ignores reality. They pretend his endless failures don't exist. They attack anyone who criticizes him. They believe in his absurd sci-fi promises, no matter how many times he's lied. Musk's fanboys will literally destroy their own lives to defend him. They buy overpriced, malfunctioning Teslas. They invest in his scams, then lose their savings. They waste their time hyping up his projects, only to be left with nothing. Elon Musk is not a genius. He's a fraud, a parasite, and a white savior myth that exists to prop up a dying empire. Elon Musk is not the future. He's a symbol of white desperation. An incompetent, overhyped, failing billionaire whose entire existence proves that white dominance is crumbling. He is the last sad illusion of white technological superiority. And just like everything he touches, that illusion is falling apart. Cope.
You know, there are very many few things in this world that can challenge wisdom, you know. A few things that can challenge wisdom, close to none, but there's only one actually. Wealth, money, that is only thing that can challenge wisdom, but wisdom always triumphs, you know. Have we ever been in a setting where we have a wise old man and then we have a rich man, and they are both told to stand and give a speech and to give a decision to a problem that is happening? Each of them stand and each of them give different decisions, perspectives. And the wise man really gives a wise decision that everyone sees, oh, this is wise, you know. And then the rich man stands up, speaks broken English, gives not so wise decision. And because he's rich, people clap so hard, harder than they clapped for the wise man. And then now when it's time to implement the decision, people tend to follow the decision of the rich man, leaving alone the decision of the wise man, you know. It's a problem we have. We value assets more than we value wisdom. We value hard skills more than we value soft skills. You know, wisdom is a soft skill. Very important. You see, you need three things in life. You need wisdom. You need knowledge first to make money. You need wisdom to multiply that money. You need understanding to keep that money on hold. Wisdom is there to pass this money from you to your children and to maintain it in the family, which is the hardest problem. It's the hardest thing, something that separates the rich and the wealthy, right? So let's put that aside. There is a gentleman, a white gentleman, who is very vocal, you know. He stood up and he called out a rich man. We all know this rich man. He called out Elon Musk, the richest now in the world. And this young man said that Elon Musk is the biggest problem that America has ever had, you know. He has his reasons for saying so. He's saying that Elon Musk is a problem more than he is a help to the people of America. We know that some Americans have always said that Elon Musk have been helping the president to decide on some of the policies to govern Americans. It's like they voted it's like they voted Elon Musk in. It's like they voted Elon Musk, you know, instead of Trump. Because Elon Musk is rich and he decides for the Americans how to go about, you know. That is what is happening. So this gentleman, he has a very valid argument to support the reason why we should lean more on wisdom, or rather we should listen more to that old man who is wise, other than that other guy who is rich and foolish. Let's listen to this video. I shall get back where we shall also have a deep, critical analysis. Let's dive in.
I'm getting notifications on practically every video now saying that they're no longer being pushed in the For You feed. But it doesn't matter, because I can never be stopped. One thing that you have to understand about white people is that most of them have no idea where they came from, and history proves it. White people love to act like they have the strongest connection to history and heritage, yet history suggests they have spent centuries erasing, forgetting, and outright fabricating their own origins. They abandoned their original ethnic identities the moment they assimilated into whiteness. They wiped out their own peasant and working class histories in favor of fake aristocratic lineages. They spent centuries colonizing and erasing other people's cultures, but can't even tell you what their great-grandparents did. They turned their entire heritage into a DNA test and a St. Patrick's Day drinking excuse. Even today, most of them don't actually know where their ancestors were from or what they did. At some point, we have to ask, if white people were truly the keepers of history, why have they spent centuries proving they don't even know their own roots? White people erased their own ethnic identities in favor of whiteness. Irish, Italian, German, Polish, and other European immigrants were once seen as not white in the US. To escape discrimination, they abandoned their languages, names, and traditions to become more American. They replaced actual cultural ties with vague concepts like Western civilization. Today, they mock new immigrants for doing exactly what their ancestors did. Meanwhile, other groups fought to preserve their histories. Black, indigenous, and immigrant communities held on to their traditions despite white hostility. Latino, Asian, and African cultures maintained strong generational ties. Nobody else threw away their own heritage just to fit into a melting pot that only diluted them. White people weren't preserving heritage, they were running from it. White people fabricated their own family histories. They loved to claim noble or royal ancestry despite the fact that most of their ancestors were peasants. They latched onto coats of arms and last names as signs of lineage despite the fact that those things were often assigned randomly. They claim deep European heritage, yet don't know anything about the history of those places. They'll say they're 1/16th Cherokee without a shred of proof. Meanwhile, other communities actually maintain lineage. Indigenous cultures have detailed clan systems tracking ancestry for generations. African societies preserved genealogies and oral histories before white colonial disruption. Nobody else makes up their ancestors just to feel special. White people weren't celebrating history, they were rewriting it. White people lost their folk traditions, then complained about losing culture. Medieval and early modern European peasants had distinct cultural traditions, until aristocrats and industrialists destroyed them. Folk traditions, pagan festivals, and local dialects were erased by church and state control. They industrialized their own homelands, erased rural life, then looked down on cultures that preserved old ways. They mock indigenous and African traditions while failing to realize they lost their own centuries ago. Meanwhile, other cultures defended their heritage. African, Asian, and indigenous societies fought to keep traditions alive, despite white colonial rule. Latino, Middle Eastern, and South Asian cultures maintained strong spiritual and communal traditions. Nobody else industrialized their own lands so aggressively that they erased their own culture. White people weren't preserving civilization, they were bulldozing their own past. White people erased their own peasant histories in favor of fake nobility. The majority of Europeans in the 19th century were illiterate peasants working land that they didn't own. Rather than embracing their real working class roots, they invented fake family ties to aristocracy. They celebrate their European heritage without acknowledging that their ancestors were more likely to be serfs than peasants. They scoff at modern labor struggles despite coming from a history of exploited workers. Meanwhile, other societies acknowledge their real histories. Black and indigenous communities embrace real histories of survival and resilience. Latino and Asian cultures have long traditions of honoring labor and the working class. Nobody else tries to pretend that their great-great-grandfather was a duke when he was probably a struggling farmer. White people weren't preserving heritage. They were upgrading their family history like it was a bad resume. Even today, white people have no real connection to their ancestry. They rely on DNA tests because they don't actually know where they come from. They treat Irish, Scottish, and Viking heritage as cosplay rather than real history. They have no living connection to their motherlands, yet still claim them for identity. They lost their original cultures, but insist they are the standard for civilization. Meanwhile, other groups still hold on to their histories. Diaspora communities maintain cultural ties even generations after migration. Indigenous nations continue to protect and pass down knowledge. Nobody else is out here in their 40s realizing that they might be a little German. White people weren't protecting history. They were losing themselves in it. If white people were truly the leaders of history and civilization, why have they spent centuries proving they have no idea where they even came from? Cope.
Now, that was Elon Musk. And now, depending with whom you ask, people will tell you that Elon Musk is good. Elon Musk has really helped America. He's really helped elevate the economy of that country. Again, I repeat, depends with who you ask. Different people will always give you different answers. Again, depends with who you ask. But we can't always be staying on again. You know, depends with who you ask. What I like saying is we have the objectives. Let's look at the objectives here. What good has Elon Musk brought to the country of America? You see, here in Africa, I can say that Elon Musk has really brought about the Starlink. The Starlink that he brought in Kenya, in other parts of Africa as well, has really shaped internet development, you know. We had companies which were very slow on data. They were really monopolizing us. But since Elon Musk came, he changed the game for us, and things are working better for us Africans in Kenya, you see? And we are so much excited because Elon Musk brought Starlink. That is me who is in Kenya. I can say Elon Musk did a good thing for me. But he is not a Kenyan. This man was born in South Africa and was raised in USA. He is an American citizen, you know, with South African origins. Not African, but South African origins. Get me right, you know the history of South Africa. The white people who came to visit and the visitors who refused to leave, you know, turning your house into theirs. So Elon Musk has been helping Trump to make some decisions. First of all, Elon Musk has been supporting deportation, you know. He has been supporting raising of taxes. He's been supporting something about medical things. Some medical things in the US he has been in support of, something which people who call themselves the Democrats and some people who call themselves Republicans who are about to leave Republican Party and move to Democrats. These people who are in transition are also complaining about Elon Musk, you know. So the real person, you see, you show different image of yourself to different people. You ask someone else about someone, they'll tell you, he is this and that. You ask someone else, he is this and that. But the real self is shown with whom they live with. The Americans live with Elon Musk. They know him better than I, who lives in Kenya, know him, you know. So if they say that Elon Musk is making it harder for them to thrive in the USA, then I believe it has to be true and nothing but the truth, you know. The policies that are being made by Elon Musk are not in favor of the Americans, but in favor of making him profit, him together with Trump. You know, these guys are billionaires. What they think about is making profit. Profit comes into their mind first before anything else. And when you think of profit too much, you fail to think of your own responsibilities that you are elected for. I believe America, or rather the Constitution of America, as any other constitution, should separate people who are government officials from being part of the decisions being made in the government, as these will affect them. Yeah? Elon Musk should not touch the affairs of America. That is the line I can give as per this video, as told by this gentleman. He should leave the affairs of American government to the American government. Just because he's rich does not make him right to make the decisions for those people who are the mass, or those people who are the majority. You know, richness does not make you right. Yep. Now, this is EFK Original Documentaries. If you like what I do, you may want to subscribe. I will surely appreciate. And see you in the next one.